Hello everyone, welcome to Little Panda Story Time. Today our story is The Smartest Giant in Town. There was a giant called George. He finally get some new clothes. However, there's something happened. Let's have a look to see what his adventures. The Smartest Giant in Town by Julia Donaldson. George was a giant, the scruffiest giant in town. He always wore the same pair of old brown sandals and the same old patched-up gown. "I wish I wasn't the scuffiest giant in town," he said sadly. But one day, George noticed a new shop. It was full of smart clothes. So he bought a smart shirt, a smart pair of trousers, a smart belt, a smart stripy tie, some smart socks with diamonds up the sides, and a pair of smart shiny shoes. "Now I'm the smartest giant in town," he said proudly. George left his old clothes behind in the shop. He was about to go home when he had a son. On the pavement stood a giraffe who was sniffing sadly. "What's the matter?" asked George. "It's my neck," said the giraffe. "It's so very long and so very cold. I wish I had a long, warm scarf." "Cheer up," said George, and he took off his stripy tie. "It doesn't match my socks anyway," he said, as he wound it round and round the giraffe's neck. "It makes a wonderful scarf." "Thank you," said the giraffe. As George drove towards home, he sang to himself. "My tie is a scarf for a cold giraffe that look me up and down. I'm the smartest giant in town." George came to a river. On a boat stood a goat who was bleating loudly. "What's the matter?" asked George. "It's my sail," said the goat. "It's blew away in a storm. I wish I had a strong new sail for my boat." "Cheer up," said George, and he took off his new white shirt. "It kept coming untucked anyway," he said, as he tied it to the mast of the goat's boat. "It made a magnificent sail." "Thank you," said the goat. He stroked on, singing to himself. "My tie is a scarf for a cold giraffe. My shirt is on the boat as a sail for a goat. Look me up and down. I'm the smartest giant in town." George came to a tiny ruined house. Beside the house stood a white mouse with lots of baby mice. They were all squeaking. "What's the matter?" asked George. "It's our house," squeaked the mother mouse. "It burned down, and now we have nowhere to live. I wish we had a nice new house." "Cheer up," said George, and he took off one of his shiny shoes. "It was giving me blister anyway," he said, as the mouse and her babies scrambled inside. "The shoes make a perfect home for them." "Thank you," they squeaked. George had to hop along the road now, but he didn't mind. As he hopped, he sang to himself. "My tie is a scarf for a cold giraffe. My shirt's on a boat as a sail for a goat. My shoes is a house for a little white mouse that look me up and down. I am the smartest giant in town." George came to a campsite. Beside a tent stood a fox, who was crying. "What's the matter?" asked George. It's my sleeping bag, said the fourth. I dropped it in a puddle. I wish I had a warm, dry sleeping bag. Cheer up, said George, and he took off one of his socks with diamonds up the sides. It was tickling my toes anyway, he said. As the fork snuggled into it, it made a very fine sleeping bag. Thank you, said the fourth. George hopped on, singing to himself. My tie is a scarf for a cold giraffe. My shirt sits on a bow as a sail for a goat. My shoe is a house for a little white mouse. One of my socks is a bag for a fox. But I look me up and down. I'm the smartest giant in town. George came to a big scrubby brook. Beside the brook stood a dog who was howling. What's the matter? Asked George. It's this brook, said the dog. I need to get across, but I keep getting stuck in the mud. I wish there was a safe, dry path, said George, and he took off his smart new belt. It was squishing my tummy anyway, he said, as he laid down over the brook. It makes an excellent path. Thank you, said the dog. The wind started to blow, but George didn't mind. He hopped on, singing to himself. My tie is a scarf for a cold giraffe. My shirt sits on a bow as a sail for a goat. My shoes is a house for a little white mouse. One of my socks is a bed for a fox. My belt had a dog who was crossing a brook. But my trousers are falling down. I'm the coldest giant in town. Suddenly George felt sad and cheerfully, and not at all smart. He stood on one foot and thought, I'll have to go back to the shop and buy some more clothes. He decided. He turned round and hopped all the way back to the shop. But when he got there, it was closed. Oh no, cried George. He sank down onto the doorstep, and a tear ran down his nose. He felt as sad as all the animals he had met on his way home. Then, out of the corner of his eye, he saw a bed with something familiar poking out of the top. George took a closer look. Gone, he yarned. My dear old gown and scandals. George put them on. They felt wonderfully comfortable. I'm the coziest giant in town, he cried, and he danced back home along the road. Outside his front door stood all the animals he had helped. They were carrying an enormous present. Come on, George, they said. Open it. George untied the ribbon. Inside was a beautiful gold paper crown and a card. Look inside the card, George, said the animals. George put the crown on his head and opened the card. Your tie is a scarf for a cold giraffe. Your shirt's on a boat as a sail for a goat. Your shoes is a house for a little white mouse. One of your socks is a bag for a fox. Your belt had a dog who was crossing a brook. So, here is a very fine cloth. You go with the scandal and ground of the kindest giant in town. Beside George is the smartest giant in town. He also the kindest giant in town too. He didn't mind to share his new clothes just to help other animals. What about you? Would you like to help? the story comes to the end. I hope you enjoyed the story today. Welcome to subscribe our channel, Little Panda Story Time. You will find more English and Cantonese story. Feel free to share with your friends if you like our story. We will see you next time. Goodbye.